I want to do a live stream really quick and update you. I'm going to try to be as pumped up as I can. I'm on pain meds right now with I've got my papers here for a surgery. I'm going in on Friday morning. Give you a little update to start off with. I'm going to give you an update on my health crisis here. And then I'm going to tell you about Letterman. How cool is that? A little behind the scenes about Letterman. Talk about the Rockstar that offered me some substance that we had to take out of that, and other things you didn't see, a few other things. So um, they've been backed up in surgery, so I've had to wait like 3 weeks to get in. I'm finally in on Friday, but I've been having massive pain in my back. The good thing is the kidney stone hasn't moved. It's golf ball size, so it's been a lot of pain, but I'm taking meds and just trying to get through it. Oh, thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate it. And the risks here are really high, though. I'm a little concerned about the risks. They told me that the risk after they take it out, because they're going to make a decision and go in and take it out, so it's actual surgery, and the risks are sepsis and kidney infection. So they're going to have to watch it really closely. So I wish me luck. I'm going to need it. This is going to suck. From people who have dealt with this before, they've said that it's a lot of pain, and so bear with me as I go through this. I've filmed some things so that I can put content up while I'm down, but I'm hoping that it'll only take 5 to 7 days to get through this. And so anyway, but it's pretty crazy. So on to bigger and brighter things. Any prayers or good vibes would be appreciated, because I'm gonna need it. Peter, thank you so much. Twitty, I appreciate it. Okay, so Letterman, how it happened. This is crazy. This is totally unexpected. So I out of nowhere, I got a call. No, actually, it started out. I got an email like 7 or 8 months ago from a viewer who said that he was friends with Letterman, or friends with a friend who's friends with Letterman, and said that Letterman was a fan. And I, you hear things like that. I didn't really take it too seriously. And then it was either the same person or somebody else. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate it. Somebody else had sent me an email with a podcast. He was on I think it's the Adam Buxton podcast that he was on, and he was talking about Bob Dylan, and he was talking about my piece on Bob Dylan, like a Rolling Stone. And he called me a kid. He's like, "There's this kid on YouTube." I was like, "Well, thank you. I appreciate being called a kid, because I'm not a kid," but it was funny. And I thought, "Oh, that's really cool." And I didn't really think much more about it. Then about 2 months ago, I got a call from a longtime executive who's worked with David and Dave, and he said, "Hey, Letterman's a big fan of your show. He'd like to have you on his podcast. He watches every night." I thought, there's no way. But then, as you saw in the interview, he said, see you virtually every night on my television," which is crazy, because I grew up with Letterman, watching all the great music guests that he had on there. And so that was awesome. But we one of the things that you didn't see in the interview was the fact that the first question, he said, "I know quite a bit about you. Do you mind if I tell things I know about you?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And in the interview, it has where he talks about my favorite band being Van Halen, but in the actual interview, he said, "I know that you're going through a battle with kidney stones." He knew about the kidney stone battle. He said, "Has that subsided?" I said, "No, I'm still dealing with it." So he knew all about that. That was pretty crazy. Talking to David Letterman about my kidney stone. And so we talked about a lot of things that didn't make it in. Mostly we were really going into detail and my love for Brian Wilson, and kind of how I got my nickname Professor of Rock. And we may or may not have talked about Mike Love in some regard, which I won't go into because I don't like to be negative. But he basically, one of the things that he said that really touched my heart is, he said, "And I want to get away from all that." I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were saying something about how there's been a lot of divisiveness in the world, and some people are going off of social media and other things. And he said, when I want to escape all that, I watch you." And I just thought, wow, that's amazing. Like my dad, he were still alive, he would have been, he'd been well pleased. He would have been proud of that, I think, for sure. So that was really cool. But one of the things that we did have to edit out was the fact that there was a rock star, and who who actually in an interview early on in my career asked me when the interview was over, he's like, do you want to do some blow? Do you want to, do you want to do some illegal substances with me? And I said, no, I don't. But he offered me, and I said, that was a rock star moment. You just don't have that anymore. That probably happened all the time back in the 70s and 80s, but you don't see that anymore. And I said the rock star who it was. It's a pretty prominent rock star, pretty famous, and they actually called me before the interview was going to go up on YouTube and said, hey, do you want us should we share this? And I said, I talked to a business partner I have that's in the industry, said no, for legal reasons you can't say that. So I can't tell you guys, but what I can say is that it's a prominent rock star from the last let's say 15 years. um oh, thank you so much, Kelly. Speedy recovery. I appreciate that. So anyway, can't share that, but you can guess. You can take a guess below. But it was actually pretty pretty funny moment. I got a laugh out of that, and so did Dave and Barbara, and and it was fun. We had a lot, but it just was crazy. Then the next day, and this wasn't planned, but I actually had an interview with Paul Shaffer set up. That had been set up months ago, and when I talked to Paul, and I've got it's like over an hour, great interview, and talking about the great musical moments that happen on Dave's show. That's the thing I love about Letterman is he's always pushing the great musical acts. I mean, the Strokes did their debut there, REM, and I remember watching REM. I remember watching Billy Joel on there. And oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can't say the name of the IMIR8. Anyway, appreciate that. And so anyway, we just talked about a lot of those great musical moments with Paul. He talked about a moment where Bruce Springsteen played the last show before he went over to CBS, and Billy Joel played the first show on CBS. So the last show on NBC, Bruce said, is this piano sturdy? Is this organ sturdy? And Paul's like, yeah, it's sturdy. And he knew he was going to jump up on. Paul knew he was asking that because he was going to jump up on this on the organ and do some televangelist rock and roll type stuff. And then we talked about Warren Zevon and that great episode. I think it'd be cool to do should I do a top 10 on the greatest musical moments on Letterman show? I think that'd be a cool thing to do. Let me know in your comments. So anyway, we talked all about that. But Paul, the craziest thing was when Paul was talking to me, he was like, yeah, I love your show. I'm a fan of the show. And he said, I love it. Greatest songs and the greatest artists of all time. He like did an impersonation of me. So I got a kick out of that. I thought that was pretty hilarious. So anyway, the Letterman interview as well. It's about an hour, and what you saw was about 26 minutes. So went more into detail. It'd be cool to maybe do a part two. I think I should have Dave on the show here. I would love to talk to him about some things. But I love Dave. I just think he's so genuine, and it was just so much fun. It was a blast, and it was just fun to talk to him about my dad. My dad actually looked like Jay Leno, and he was a fan of Letterman. Man, my dad, you've seen pictures of my dad. If you saw him in person, I mean, he looked just like Jay. So it was pretty crazy. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on here. I know you guys have got a lot to do, but I wanted to talk about a few things. One of the things I did want to say is the 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame um, nominations are going to be coming out in a few months, and that's always kind of fun to look at. To get disgruntled, I do, because they better freaking have Boston or Styx or the Smiths on this one. They've already put in Journey, they put in Foreigner. It's time to put in Boston. It's time to put in Styx, especially Boston. And if they say, well, they only had that one big album. Well, actually, they had three big albums, three huge albums, and Guns N' Roses only had a few big albums. So there's my argument there. Put in Boston. I mean, they weren't a one-hit wonder. They a lot of people say that were a one album wonder. No, they weren't. They had two other huge albums after that. So they absolutely deserve it. Brad Delp and Tom Scholz, and I mean, Brad Delp, I think it's one of the, if not the greatest rock vocalist of all time. Right? For me, it's Steve Perry, Lou Gramm, Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant. That's the argument. But Brad Delp deserves to be in that, and Tom Scholz is one of the greatest producers ever. So I'm putting in for Boston. Speaking of the Smiths, my favorite band of all time, I've tried to take my son to Morrissey 4 times in concert. I've had tickets 4 different times. One time we were going to fly to Palm Springs to see Morrissey. He's canceled every single time. Really disappointed my son, whose middle name is Morrissey, and he's actually a fan without me pushing it on him. And so, he's got to get it together. I don't know how he cancels so freaking much. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. So anyway, the other thing I was going to tell you. Oh, thanks, Jay Winard. Love you too. Um, I, it's been a crazy week. It's been a hell of a week. The Letterman interview came out of almost a week and a half ago. But then I flew to Chicago with this kidney stone, and I was worried about going on the flight. But I went out and I interviewed Alice Cooper in Chicago at the Drive, WDRV, the Drive, which is where they do my radio station. They created out there. It's Hubbard Radio. That's their signature station out there, the classic rock station in Chicago. So I got to interview Alice. He actually got inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame because he's got his big radio show. I'm only in like 33 markets. He's in 200. So I'm going to get there. But Alice is amazing. And I had such a great conversation with Alice. He's such an amazing guy. He's like, is he 78? I can't remember, 76, 77, 78. And he sharp as a tack. I've never seen a rock star that was that sharp, knew every single story. He was as sharp as anybody in their 20s, and he had so many great stories. And he's lived such a crazy life. But he had a great story about Elvis. I'll just give you a little bit here, but he's like, Elvis wanted to meet him, and so he actually, ended up, meeting Elvis, and Elvis said, "So, aren't you the guy, it's got all the makeup and the big snakes and everything?" He said, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. I dig that. I dig that." But he told a really cool story about Elvis, and that full interview is going to be released next week. So look for that. I'm going to do the full hour and 15 minutes uncut. Starting to do full interviews. One's coming out tomorrow. It's actually my favorite person I've ever interviewed. He's just my favorite person in music of the 800 plus interviews that I've done. He's my favorite. Guess if you can guess who it is. But look for that tomorrow morning. I'm going to start doing full interviews. So I hope you enjoy that. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of those. And anyway, Alice was great. He's got, one of the things that he said is that when he got over his addictions, that he was a cured alcoholic, a healed alcoholic, not a cured alcoholic. He's a believer. He's believed in his faith very strongly. And anyway, he had that great comeback with Poison. But look for that interview because there's so many great stories. It's probably out of all my interviews I've done, there are more great stories from the Alice Cooper one of just, he was buddies with Groucho Marx, and there's so many. So look for that next week. Anyway, lastly, the future of this channel. So in the past 2.5 months, and I don't want to complain, I'm going to try to be positive, but our impressions have been cut almost 40%. It makes it extremely difficult to do content when they cut it that much. So if you can help us out at all by liking and sharing and commenting, that will really help. Claims, it's crazy. It's never consistent. I can go like a couple of weeks without seeing one claim, and then all of a sudden I'll get like 18 or whatever, And I got a claim for a song a few weeks ago that's in the public domain. It's an Alan Lomax recording. I looked it up. It's in the public domain. I don't know what the heck's going on. And then I've had some people comment about, words I say that I can't say on YouTube. Sometimes I'll spell it out, or I'll say it rhymes with. You can't say those words, or you'll get in trouble. You could get taken down, demonetized, all that kind of stuff. So apologize about that, but I had somebody kind of lay into me about that. Anyway, there's crazy words you can't say. It's insane, but I'm going to keep plugging away. And I'm working on, I'm working on some really exciting things outside of YouTube. I can't go into detail now, but listen, if I ever disappear from here, if you can't find me or something happens either by choice or not by choice, you can find me on my website, or you can find me at our podcast that we have. And man, I'm grateful to do what I do every day, and I'm grateful for your support. And I'm gonna go in a knife, and we're gonna see what happens here. I'm use your good vibes and your prayers, and your I'm gonna need it because this will be interesting. But I'm gonna get through this. Love you guys. I really appreciate your support, and I'll continue to tell these stories. And thank you, is it Laszlo 34? Appreciate that. And so I'm going to end the live stream now, but look for the interview tomorrow, the full length, and then also look for Alice Cooper next week. I think you'll really dig it. And then Letterman, would you like to see? I'm going to try to get him on the show here and interview him. So let me know. Oh, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna sign off now. Until next time, three chords and the truth, my friends, and we'll see you soon. All right, let's see. Never know how to end these things. There we go.